So pretty much starting to run the electrics and sockets. So this corner here, I'm gonna have like a bench with probably a pull-out drawers and something. By here, inside the bench, I'm gonna have basically like hidden sockets. So this one here is like a 12-volt cigarette lighter. So basically I've got a cool box which plugs into a main or 12 volt socket. So what I'm gonna have here is like a pull-out cooler under a bench, and then probably in this corner I have like the toilet or something like that along here, like a long pull-out bench, and it might turn into a bed also. And the second one then is just a normal USB switch, which would be hidden under the bench. And then we got on the bed then, so this is basically where the bed's going to be, and I've got basically 2 charging points on the bed. So this one here is basically just a, if you can see that, a USB one, so that literally go in that hole. And this one here is a USB and also a US, is it a C? So like the iPhone charger, and also a USB as well. And then we've got the net in here, which you can't really see because this blends in with the carpet, but obviously phone on charge, and then you can just drop it into the carpet. Obviously this side of the bed, I'm basically going to have like a tall cupboard, so I basically pull out wardrobe, a nice thin one, and then obviously this side I'll have like a shelf or the netting also where that phone can drop into and just rest. And obviously I've got another cable here. I've got a cable behind here, which by here will be a 12-volt fan. So I've got a fan which will go there as well in the corner. So that's the electric so far, and a bunch of bastards on the floor. As you've seen, it is a day on the electrics. It's a pretty miserable day outside. It's been raining all night, and it's just, I had this outside just so I could get to like the bottom of the inverter and the battery charger, but it started raining, so I've moved it inside now. But the goal for today is to have all these components attached on the board, and then literally it is a matter of sticking it in position and running all these cables through the holes and attaching it to all this. But what it looks like so far, I'll run you through the board. Batteries will be here, the live terminal will be attached there, which runs into a fuse, which obviously none of the fuses are on just yet. Fuse into isolator switch into the live bar, and that'll run across the whole board. The neutral, there'll be a neutral here as well. Neutral will run straight in, straight to the neutral bar as well. And then solar panels will be running through the top. They'll come in through this hole here, attach onto the right hand side, and then it comes out into the MPPT, and then MPPT down to the neutral and live bars. And then we got the 12-volt system then, 12-volt fuse board. Again, neutral will run straight into the neutral bar, and then all the 12-volt neutrals will go into these little terminals, and then these ones here are all the lives then. Live into a fuse, fuse into the live bar. Inverter, we've basically got neutral into the neutral bar, live into the live bar, earth into the neutral bar also. And then at the top will be a plug. Plug will run through that hole there and then go into the 230-volt fuse board, which will be in a separate cupboard, which I can get access to if any fuses do trip in the van. I don't have to leave the van to come into the garage to sort out any fuses. I can just go into a cupboard and flip a switch. And then the last one then is battery to battery charger. So basically that will go here. A cable will run from the battery in the engine, come into the board and go into the in socket, and then the middle one then, neutral, will run to the neutral bar. The live will run into a fuse, and a fuse into the live bar. And that's pretty much all the electric components I'll be having on this van. Sweet, so what it looks like is we've got a spare terminal here on the live. So this is the cable here, which will come to this side. Just needs a new thing on the end. I forgot what it's called, but it's going to run through there. It's running under this mat and then popping out this side, and then pretty much it's going to go inside a fuse here. So it'll connect to a fuse, and then that runs along there to the back of the van, where it'll connect to the battery to battery charger. A little bit of some insulation here just to fill the gap. These two plugs are now wired in, and the cables are running through here with all the rest of the cables, and then basically all this will basically slide through that hole in the electric board, and then we will go from there. So the next part now is to install the second panel, and then see how that goes. It is the battery to battery charger cable is the only one. I can run it through the bottom of the electric board, so I can drill a hole here, run it through straight into this hole, or I can just run it through the hole here down into the electric board. So it'll just come through this hole and then run down to there. That's what I'm trying to decide now. So we're getting there.